Good afternoon, I'm at McDonald.
And I'm Catriona Ward.
And this is
Stay Indoors and Read!
This is poems. Okay, good afternoon. So welcome to Stay Indoors and Read.
Yes.
That's enough introing. And so today we've got our usual book review.
Done by you this week, which is you have actually stayed indoors and read.
I've actually read a book,
yes.
So which is unusual. Then we're going to have our literary discussion.
Yes, on the theme this week of something which I think is quite pertinent, which is writing under stress and writing under conditions which are not ideal. I think that anyone who's trying to write or anyone who is writing will feel the impact of this. It's these are strange days, and writing in these strange days can be a strange experience, I think.
Yes. Okay, and then we've got possibly a celebrity interlude.
Yes.
So if there is, we're just going to hold position for like however long we think it'll be, and we'll just be like, see, there could have been one then, but I mean, you wouldn't have seen that bit if there was.
It wasn't.
No. And then we've got household reviews.
Yes, and you're doing that as well.
Have you not got a household review today? You can review that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So first up is book review. So today I am going to be reviewing Wolf in Shadow by David Gemmell, which, as you see here, is a signed copy, which was bought for me for Christmas.
By someone really thoughtful.
Yeah, a super thoughtful person. Look, David Gemmell signed it. And it's a lovely present. I'm very, I'm not normally one for being bothered about signing things. I sort of feel like,
I know what you mean.
I've got their signature,
Yeah.
but, you know.
Yeah.
Also, I've met most of my heroes and they were terrifically disappointing.
I don't think that's true, is it?
No, it's not true. No, not at all.
They may be watching.
I gushed like a fan child.
I think that's the point, isn't it? If someone means a lot to you, I think it's okay to tell them that they mean a lot to you.
I think so.
I think so.
Yes, but so, Wolf in Shadow. So, it's taken me a little while to get to the end of Wolf in Shadow, and I'm a huge David Gemmell fan, and Legend is the only book I've reread like 8 times. Now I have to say, Wolf in Shadow really reminds me of The Dark Tower, the first book of The Dark Tower, The Gunslinger. It's about a cowboy in a post-apocalyptic wasteland with lots of stuff
That's interesting. Do you know the dates relative to the respective, like, do you know when the gun? Shall I just check?
Yeah, so this was published in 1987. I think The Gunslinger will probably be a little bit before.
I think it was a bit before.
Yeah.
At least it was written before.
It's not psychedelic like The Gunslinger. It's David Gemmell to its core. It's a tough man walking around doing violence on people, and
right.
I wouldn't say it's up there with his Dre and I series, which is, I think, his best work.
Right.
There's a lot of almost interchangeable tough men saying tough things and being tough men who are prepared to get the job done.
Do you think it's you would know best, does it come before his sort of major works
No, it follows on from his original best works.
Okay.
But if you're looking for characters who are not tough men, then there aren't really any characters.
This is not for you.
This is not for you. Yeah. If you're looking for, like maybe a girl, a girl who doesn't sleep with the main character or want to within 10 minutes of meeting him.
Does that ever happen in fiction?
Well, it happens in this book. It happens in lots of books, I guess. But yes, it's. I think it's quite of its time, perhaps.
Of its time.
One of my main critiques of it, though, is that I just don't think that gunfights are very interesting to read about, because the only thing you can ever say is he was so skilled he shot them instantly. It's like, okay, after they've done that like 50 times.
Yeah, and then I shot him, and then he shot me, and then I shot him and he missed, but then I shot him and he didn't miss.
Yeah, there's also this thing of the main character being Roland, which just means he has incredible luck.
Right.
So he's just better at everything than everyone because of his incredible luck, which he's just born with.
Which is a sort of problematic thing, isn't it? That sort of chosen one narrative.
Yeah, he's very much a chosen one, and
right.
I'm kind of like, I don't really like chosen ones.
No.
I like to think if I worked hard enough,
you
then
earn it.
I would earn it. Yeah.
I think you can achieve chosen one status by hard work and being a little cunning, but perhaps not being born with it seems a bit dull, doesn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't even want it or care about it. He just wanders around and everyone goes, he is the Roland.
I feel like this is a terrible present, and whoever got it for you should be really ashamed of themselves.
Well, let's try better in future. No, I love owning the book, and I love it because I'll never get to meet David Gemmell, but I wouldn't put it as one of his immediately read. I think it's one to read if you've already enjoyed a lot of
other
his
ones.
canon.
Yeah, maybe it's interesting to see it in terms of the canon
Yes.
instead, but like in relation to other, perhaps more like evolved works.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, interesting. Yeah.
Okay, I've taken too long on this section, so okay, let's go into our academic discussion.
Yes. Okay. So this is writing under pressure, or writing. Let's just say it for what it is. Writing under lockdown.
So do you want to start off?
I think I found if you pay any attention to social media, which let's face it is our only real window into the world these days, you see people talking about this a lot, which is despite no real world obstacles, people find it very, very difficult to concentrate. The concentration span is shot, and difficult to feel anything but anxiety. And as we all know, relaxation is kind of the only state you can really write. Well, actually, no, there's lots of states you can write in. What you can't do is write when you're really anxious and nervous about what's going to happen. So I think we've all felt a version of this. I felt it very slowly. At first, I found it very difficult to tell the difference between my regular life and lockdown, because I live like a toad under a stone anyway. So it wasn't
a nice toad.
Such a nice toad. Yeah. But it didn't seem that big a deal, but very gradually it did creep up on me, and it's the strangeness of and the new world which we're now encountering became a source of anxiety. And yes, I'm finding it difficult to write now. I really am. So I think the first thing that I drilled down to, which is just do what you can. A little is better than nothing. So rather than expecting yourself to do your usual 2,000, well, for you, I mean, you're very prolific, you write like 5,000 words a day sometimes. I don't, but instead of doing your usual kind of number of words, just go for a manageable number, and expect that of yourself rather than setting yourself up for failure. I think that would be my first good tip.
Yes, I think like relaxing and like laying off the gas a bit is probably a good idea at the moment. There was a really good cartoon in the New Yorker yesterday, which I didn't read the New Yorker, I saw it on Twitter, which is a man in a rowing boat.
Darling, you could have just so got away with that.
I know. A man in a rowing boat in a stormy sea with lightning and sharks and stuff, and it says over it, "Now is the time to finish your novel." And I feel like that's a bit like where we are.
Yeah, that's very apposite, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think the idea of the starving, struggling artist, really trying to, adversity bringing creativity. I think it's a bit of a painful and poisonous myth. Some people have obviously done it, but that doesn't mean that it's helpful.
I also think like we're not suffering because of adversity. We're suffering because of kind of enforced inertia, really. So it's not like we're personally encountering sort of like wartime conditions during the Blitz. We are just locked. We're literally locked down, and I felt like that very physical sensation actually at times is this feeling of being just closed up emotionally, intellectually, imaginatively. I felt really locked up, and I think just forgive yourself is the best thing I think you can. What's the first step on the way out of it? What would you say?
Yeah, I think you've got to just relax and let yourself have a bit of leeway, but also like you got to remember like your usual creativity drivers are absent. For me, it's train journeys are my favourite thing for thinking, or talking to other people. We've been basically talking to one another for 8 weeks without seeing other human souls,
which has been delightful.
Yeah. But
also you don't, and it's not the same speaking to someone on a screen, is it?
No.
You don't get that sort of tactile, and also that sort of that immediacy. Maybe it's pheromonal, I don't know, but the presence of another person can really be so. It can be so galvanising and stimulating.
And all anyone's has to talk about is how things are under lockdown.
You have the same conversation again and again and again, and so I think. Just accept the way things are is a huge step, because I failed to. I thought it was going to be
Over by Christmas.
Over by Christmas.
We hope.
Fuck, I hope it's over by Christmas. And I think
We'll bleep that out.
We'll bleep that out. I think I failed to acknowledge the effect it was having on me for quite some time. Another thing. Don't write about coronavirus. I don't think. Don't do that.
No.
I don't think. First of all, I don't think we really have enough knowledge or enough kind of perspective on it to know what it really is. I think that everybody is very, very tired of it, and reading about it might not be everyone's favourite thing. Certainly talking to people in publishing, they're like, I don't want to, nobody's buying anything about lockdown or coronavirus. It's just...
No one wants pandemic stories.
No one wants pandemic stories because
That's life.
We've done it. We've done it now. We want other stories. It doesn't mean that everything has to be light and fluffy, necessarily, but I think I would advise against that, wouldn't you?
I agree. I think people want probably want a bit of escapism. Want to read about some lives that are not their lives.
This helps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Apparently, European wineries are suffering from lack of demand, and frankly,
we should all do our bit.
I think that is fake news because I just can't conceive how that could be possible as we are holding them up.
Dual-handedly.
Yes, at times. Okay, right. I think that's good for literary skills.
Good. Okay, so
celebrity interlude.
Celebrity interlude. As a variation on our usual feature of questions from a 3-year-old, I have instead been lucky enough to grab a few minutes with the wonderful Belinda Stuart Wilson, actor and screenwriter, who's going to share her experience of what it's like doing those things, or indeed not doing those things, on lockdown. Have you found, and I'm sure with the acting at least, there's been a bit of a stop put on that just by circumstances, but have you found that you've been able to continue to practice your craft while you've been in isolation?
Very, very good question. I mean, being an actor in lockdown is quite similar to being an actor out of lockdown, but with sort of less shame attached to it. Is basically no opportunities for work. But it's okay because everyone else is in the same boat. The most worrying thing, of course, is the theatres I'm so worried about theatres not opening ever again, and in the meantime they will die, they will starve. So that's a real worry. But but being an actor itself, it's very similar. But and in that regard, I have started writing. Before going into lockdown, was writing most days. And as an actor, I think that's the only thing you can do to keep sane. So really, very handily, I've managed to bring that into the lockdown situation.
Segue from the frying pan into the fire, as it were.
Yes, but in respect of, I'm not actually writing a play at the moment, but when I think of all the theatres closing, I go, well, there's no deadline. There's no deadline now, which is a weird...
I suppose that's true. It does feel a bit like fiddling while Rome burns, doesn't it? Because you just don't know what's going to be there at the end of it.
No, but I think the important thing is to do it for its own even for its own sake. I think in times like these, writing is an incredible therapy. And I notice if I don't do it, I feel a bit mad.
It needs to get out some days, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like a sort of a caged animal.
Yeah. And it's a wonderful opportunity to be creative, and as an actor, you don't have any control over that. You require an audience to do your job.
So I often think about this, and I often think, was one so lucky as a writer to be able to make your mistakes in private?
Yeah.
As an actor, you are always up front. Every mistake you make is in front of at least one other person.
And you're always relying on someone else to tell you whether they think you're good enough or appropriate enough to do their job. So you have so little control, which is why I think a lot of actors do turn to writing, actually. And also, you can write your own parts, but it exercises a very similar muscle. You go into acting to tell stories, and by writing you get to tell them in a different way. I mean, you get to actually write the story, so it's a very similar sense of satisfaction you get.
Toolkit, as it were, maybe.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, because that's exactly what I was going to ask you about, is do you feel like it uses the same part of your brain?
It does, actually, and I didn't know that it would. I've always thought, oh, I couldn't possibly write. I just couldn't. I mean, I don't know how you two write novels. That to me is a whole different planet.
Very bad.
As an actor, you grow up reading scripts, and that is your life. So actually, I do have a sort of innate understanding of scripts.
Do
But
you think
funnily
actors
enough,
get
I don't
told
really
that
know how
they're
they
not
work.
allowed to, though? Do you think actors are made to feel that they're not allowed in a certain way to impinge or intrude on on the text, you know, the sacred text?
Maybe I just do. I've always kind of put writers up there, quite rightly, because they're, you know, without them we don't have the story to tell. But you do. I have always seen myself as separate to them. But all you have to do is go, actually, what if I gave that a go? And you realise that your co-conspirators, really, actors and writers, they work together. I mean, they need each other.
Yeah.
In terms of playwriting and screenwriting, anyway.
Yeah, and do you find it a release as well to be able to perhaps write the kind of parts that you don't see enough of on screen?
Yes, very much. And I'm writing for actors. You know, I find myself writing for actors. So I think as an act, which really helps in terms of rhythm and dialogue and stuff. It's a kind of skill that you have without knowing that you've got it. It's like I know when I read a script as an actor what sounds good and what I think works. And if I instinctively want to change it as an actor, you know, you say, do you mind if I say that instead of that? And so that really helps when it comes to writing dialogue. Again, something I thought I'd never be able to do, but turns out it's quite enjoyable. But because I'm writing it for an actor, I get to say what I get to write what I would want to read on the script page if I were reading it as an actor. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, that all sounds very...
Yeah, it is a very particular register, isn't it? Stage speech written for the stage, or speech written for an actor to speak, because it's not quite colloquial, is it? You have to have,
it has to have a rhythm.
Yeah, and it's got to do more than regular speech accomplishes. It's got to have
You know, in terms of playwriting, the line of dialogue is all you have. You know, you don't get a close-up of someone's face telling you a story of what is going on in their head. So
you've got to be able to hand that to a stranger, and for them to be able to intuit your intention, I suppose.
Yeah, it's quite endlessly fascinating, I have to say.
It is endlessly fascinating, because as we get prose, so we get, as you say, we get the equivalent of a sort of close-up or different camera angles, because we get to fill out our text with, you know, context, or what expression they were wearing, or the tone of voice, or, you know, if someone dropped a piano on their head mid-sentence, like we get to say that. Although I suppose you could say the piano thing, but apart from that, you know, you everything, all your intention has to be absolutely there, contained in the line, which is a huge challenge, I think.
It is, when you look at a play script, you know, so much of the page is white, and the same with the screenplay, and you're just like, and that is, I guess, the craft. It's like, how do I convey someone's inner life on a page with only with what people say,
what they say,
and what a challenge. So, you know, it's like, but it's all wrapped up in the same thing. So a character's action is the character, you know, so whatever it is they're doing is who they are, and is therefore what they say, but you don't always say what you mean, and you don't, and so
frequently
there's so many challenges. And also, if you've only got two people, you haven't got anyone to interrupt, you haven't got anyone to change the subject. You have to find a way of weaving in and out of things at the same time as being natural, knowing it's not natural because it's the dialogue of a play, and you need to stay on track from A to B where you're going, you know, your journey of the story. It's a real challenge, but my God, it's fun, and there's so much to learn. Do
you find that you've gravitated towards more intimate pieces in your writing, or towards more ensemble pieces?
Oh no, I think especially as a beginner, you want to keep it small, because you're like, I'm in charge of these two people. You know, I started off writing one person stuff, but that brings so many challenges in its own right, because it doesn't really ever, it's harder to get it done, because you're like, well, I've only got me and a chair.
That's it. Yeah.
Then you think, okay, I'll put another person in it. Great. So you're like, can I do that? Yes, I can. They just have to talk to each other and tell each other what's going on, and there has to be some kind of...
Instantly, you've got secrets and obstacles and...
Exactly. And
all that stuff.
But then I have become a bit nervous about putting in even a third character, because I'm responsible for these two people, and that feels like quite enough. You know, it's like, I'm their parent. I'm in charge of what they're going to do, and the thought of having more people to look after is just too much. too much.
Because each person is a complete universe unto themselves, and creating one and two, it feels exhausting, and adding a third must.
And also being able to understand, you know, if I, as I'm sort of teaching myself as I'm doing it. So by reading a million plays and working out how they work, and you know, understanding subtext and how useful it is, and you know, dramatic irony and all these things. And if I've only got 2 people, then it keeps that kind of simple. But if I have more, there's so many more dynamics to interact with each other that it becomes, well, your mind boggles. I mean, some people, when I look at ensemble plays, I just think, how has anyone managed to get all those bits of spaghetti into straight lines to make sense? I mean,
it's a miracle, isn't it? She's not a playwright, but I remember once Ali Smith, the novelist, I was in a room with her and someone asked her, how do I write, you know, scenes with lots and lots of people? And she said, oh, it's very, 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 very simple. All you do is just draw a picture of where everyone's sitting. And as soon as you know who's sitting next to who, then the dialogue will start to happen. I thought it was a really good tip. I've never been able to write the big.
I like
Ed, who does that. He writes these enormous kind of like, you know, cast of thousands epic scenes. I just don't know how he does it. Really keeps control of the brain like that.
I think it is a real skill, and I take my hat off to anyone that can do it.
Well, I
like knowing where they're all sitting, because then you can kind of put a face. It's like having a classroom full of children. It's like,
yeah, and you can kind of anticipate who will interact with whom. But okay, so would you? I mean, what would be especially for any aspiring lockdown dramatists, like who are starting out? Are there any couple of pieces of advice or places or starting out points that you could point people towards, where that you, from your experience, have found very useful in getting that part of your brain and imagination working?
Well, I tell you what I've been doing religiously, and was doing well long before the lockdown, but listening to the Royal Court do an amazing series of podcasts about with all their new writing playwrights. So I mean, Royal Court only does new writing, so all of their playwrights, they've interviewed them. They've done like 4 series now, and it's absolutely riveting. And of course, I've listened to them all, and now I'm listening to them all again, being further down the line in terms of what I'm doing, right? And I'm hearing new things, and it's like I've never heard them. You know, it's like, oh, okay, that's what they would have meant by that. And there is so much to learn, and it's just, it makes you feel that it's okay for you to be doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it makes you feel like you're not being an imposter, because it's very easy to suffer from that kind of like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this because there are actual playwrights out there, and
I don't think that ever goes away. For anyone really, and I think you know, world famous playwrights and writers just get up one day and go, oh God, I can't do it today. I'm garbage, hot garbage.
Hot garbage.
Hot garbage, exactly. Much worse than the usual kind of garbage. Oh well, thank you so much, Belinda. I've completely lost track of time because that was so interesting. So for our viewers, this is Belinda Stuart Wilson, who's advocating stay inside and read and write.
Yes, and I guess my other advice is read what you're writing. Like I'm just reading a lot of. I read one play every few days, because I realise I need time for it to digest, as it were. Yeah. But that is the best way to learn, is to read.
It's got to be, hasn't it? I mean, you've got to, even if you're going to break the rules, you have to know what they are in order to break them.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly, my darling.
Well, quite. I couldn't have said it better myself. Oh, I did.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really you asked me.
Wonderful. No, it was absolutely wonderful. Is there anything you'd like us to know? You'd like to leave our one listener with?
Let's go and tell your other friends.
Yeah.
I personally love what you're doing, and I think you should do more. Like, how many do you do? 1 a week?
We do 1 a week when we do 1 a week before we get too drunk on a Friday.
Yeah, perfect.
I think 1 a week is a manageable amount. Don't think people want more than that. Also, I think short and snappy. But it was such an honour and a pleasure to have you as a guest. Thanks to you. And I feel inspired. I feel like I might almost go do some writing.
Okay, it was was maybe a
Okay,
celebrity
we don't
there.
know if there was.
Okay.
We will never know. We may never
Household
know.
review.
Okay,
so
just we could cut for a sec.
so my household review is going to be this. Thanks, Kat. So this is a burger. Well, it's the leftover burger from yesterday, which we ordered from a place I think is called Wicked Wings. And you can see a cross section there. We went for a double patty option.
It was a lot.
Yeah, this is a £13 burger, and it's £4 extra to have your extra patty. I feel like I should keep it close so people can see all that yumminess. It's got cheese.
Really good.
It's got lots of sauces. Now, I was really surprised at the deliciousness. I'm not a fan of a brioche bun. Are you?
I like a brioche bun, but that's because that caters to my taste anyway. I like a brioche, and for me, a brioche bun sort of like it adds a sort of slight lightness to the heaviness of the burger. But I appreciate not everyone feels the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's still held together fairly well the next day. You get a lot of meat in there. That's pretty good.
Are you going to take a bite?
Shall I have a bite?
You should have a bite. I feel like that's what we're here for, right? There you go. Get your jaws around that. Yeah?
It's still delicious.
It's good. It's good, right? So that's a buy. If we could remember the name,
It's Wicked Wings.
Is it called Wicked Wings?
I think so.
Okay.
If it's not, it's a bit of a stupid review.
I'll check it later.
We'll put a little text over us saying what it's really called.
Yeah.
But
I think it was, but we'll check. Anyway, so a bar.
if you live in West London,
yeah, or near any kind of branch.
we've never spent £70 ordering burgers and stuff before, have we?
Worth every penny.
Oh yeah, and the boneless buffalo wings were even better.
They were really good, and also the milkshakes, the blend, basically like a paste of blended Oreos with ice cream and milk.
I would have saved like some of the wings to review, except I ate them for breakfast. So
Did you? Well, that's a review in itself.
yeah.
All right.
And, yeah. Okay. Right.
I think we've taken up more than enough of your time.
I can't believe anyone would still be watching by this point.
Our one viewers probably wandered off in disgust. Okay.
They're only watching because they left it rolling while they went to the
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Or doing a poo or something.
So, yeah, that's been us. Until next time.
Stay safe, stay indoors,
Stay
and
indoors
keep reading.
And read. Yeah.